Hey guys, it's Poppy Rain here, and the other day I went to a book sale at my local library for 75 cents. I got 3 books I thought would be fun to read with you guys. I got Pollyanna, which is also a movie, which I believe you can get on Disney Plus, which if you guys don't know what Disney Plus is or haven't watched Disney Plus yet, definitely worth the $6.99 a month. It's amazing. I got Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. Simple ways to keep the little things from taking over your life. And I got Tigger Tales. Today we're going to be reading, we will start reading Pollyanna. Pollyanna by Eleanor H. Porter. So here's the list of all the characters. We have Pollyanna Whittier, a lonely but cheerful 11-year-old orphan girl who comes to live with her spinster Aunt Polly. Miss Polly Harrington, Aunt Polly, the stern younger sister of Pollyanna's mother. Not at all sure she's ready to care for a child. Nancy, Aunt Polly's hard-working housemaid, and Pollyanna's soft-hearted friend. John Pendleton, a crabby, mysterious neighbor who finds he needs Pollyanna. Dr. Thomas Chilton, a kindly doctor who changes Pollyanna's life in several ways. Mrs. Snow, an invalid neighbor lady who learns from Pollyanna the importance of being glad. Millie, Mrs. Snow's daughter. Old Tom, Aunt Polly's gardener. Jimmy Bean, a little boy who finds a friend in a fellow orphan. Dr. Warren, the doctor who was called to attend to Pollyanna. Widow Tarabell and Mrs. Benton, 2 of the many visitors who express well wishes for Pollyanna. Chapter 1. Miss Polly. Miss Polly Harrington entered her kitchen a little hurriedly this June morning. Miss Polly did not usually hurry. She prided herself on her calm manner. But today she was actually hurrying. Nancy, washing dishes at the sink, looked up in surprise. Nancy had been working in Miss Polly's kitchen only 2 months, but already she knew that her mistress did not usually hurry. "Nancy," Miss Polly called sternly. "Yes, ma'am," Nancy answered cheerfully, wiping a pitcher in her hand. "Nancy, when I'm talking to you, please stop your work and listen to what I have to say." Brief intermission here, guys. I just recently got a kitten. You can see a video about her here on my channel. She's fun to come and visit during story time. Nancy's face flushed. She set the pitcher down and nearly tipped it over, which made her even more nervous. "Yes, ma'am, I will, ma'am," she stammered. "I was only keeping on with my work, 'cause you specially told me to hurry with my dishes." Her mistress frowned. "That will do, Nancy. I did not ask for your explanations," Miss Polly said. "When you've finished, you may clear the little room at the head of the stairs, in the attic, and make up the bed. Sweep the floors and clean it, of course, after you clear out the trunk and boxes." Miss Polly paused, then went on. "I suppose I may as well tell you now, Nancy. My niece, Miss Pollyanna Whittier, is coming to live with me. She's 11 years old and will sleep in that room." "A little girl coming here, Miss Harrington?" "Oh, don't worry." "Oh, won't that be nice?" cried Nancy. "Nice? Well, isn't Well, that isn't exactly the word I would use, said Miss Polly stiffly. However, I intended to make the best of it. I am a good woman, and I know my duty. See that you clean the corners. Nancy, she finished sharply as she left the room. Yes, ma'am, sighed Nancy. In her own room, Miss Polly took out the letter she received days before from a faraway western town. It had been an unpleasant surprise to her. The letter was addressed to Miss Polly Harrington, Beldingsville, Vermont. It read, Dear Madame, I regret to inform you that the Reverend John Whittier died 2 weeks ago, leaving one child, a girl, 11 years old. He left practically nothing else for the child except a few books. As you doubtless know, he was the pastor of this small mission church and had a very small salary. He had expressed that for your sister's sake, you might wish to bring the child up with her own family in the East. If you can take her, we would appreciate it very much if you would telegram at once. A man and his wife here are going east very soon. They would take her with them to Boston and put her on the Beldingsville train, of course. You would be notified when to expect Pollyanna. Hoping to hear from you soon, I remain respectfully yours, Jeremiah O. White. With a frown, Miss Polly folded the letter and tucked it into its envelope. She had telegrammed saying she would take the child, of course. She hoped she knew the duty well enough for that. As she sat, she thought about her older sister, Jeanie, the child's mother. Jeanie, as a girl of 20, had insisted upon marrying the young minister. Her family had hoped she would marry another man who also loved her, a richer, older man. But Jeanie loved the minister, so she married him and moved away to become a missionary. Polly had been only 15 when her sister moved away. The family had little more to do with Jeanie. Jeanie had written for a time. She named her last baby Pollyanna, for her two sisters, Polly and Anna. The other babies had all died. A few years after the child's birth, the minister wrote a little heartbroken note, telling them of Jeanie's death. I'm glad I know my duty, thought Miss Polly, as she climbed up the stairs to the attic room. But Pollyanna? What a ridiculous name. The room contained a small bed, neatly made, 2 straight-back chairs, a washstand, a dresser with no mirror, and a small table. No curtains, no pictures. All day the sun had been pouring down, and the little room was like an oven. There were no screens on the closed windows. A big fly was buzzing angrily at a window, trying to get out. Nancy, Miss Polly said later downstairs, I found a fly in Miss Pollyanna's room. I have ordered screens, but until they come, I expect you to see that the windows remain closed. My niece will arrive tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Please meet her at the station. The telegram says, light hair, red checked gingham dress, and straw hat. Promptly, at 20 minutes to 4, the next afternoon, Timothy, the handyman, and Nancy drove off to meet the expected guest. And there she stood at the station, a slender little girl in a red-checked gingham with 2 fat braids of golden hair hanging down her back. Beneath the straw hat, an eager, freckled little face turned right and left, plainly searching for someone. She was standing by herself when Nancy approached her. "Are you Miss Pollyanna?" Nancy asked. The next moment she found herself half smothered in two gingham-clad arms. "Oh, I am so glad to see you," she cried in an ear voice. "Of course I'm Pollyanna, and I'm so glad you came to meet me. I hoped you would." You did?" stammered Nancy, wondering how Pollyanna could have possibly known. "Oh, yes, I've been wondering all the way here what you looked like," cried the little girl, dancing on her toes. "And now I know, and I'm glad you look just like you do." Pollyanna's words were very confusing to Nancy. She was relieved when Timothy came up, and the three of them were off at last. Nancy was dazed by all the little girl's comments and questions. "Is it far? I hope it is. I love to ride," sighed Pollyanna. "Of course, if it isn't far, I won't mind, 'cause I'll be glad to get there all the sooner. What a pretty street. I knew it was going to be pretty. Father told me." The girl paused with tears in her eyes. Then she went on. "Oh, I ought to explain about this red gingham dress. You know, and why I'm not in black. Part of the ladies' aid wanted me to buy a black dress and hat, but the other part thought the money ought to go towards the red carpet for the church, you know." Pollyanna paused for breath, and Nancy stammered, "Well, I'm sure it'll be all right." "I'm glad you feel that way." "I do, too," nodded Pollyanna, again with a choking little breath. "Of course, 'twould have been a good deal harder to be glad in black." "Glad?" gasped Nancy. "Yes. That Father's gone to heaven to be with Mother. He said I must be glad. It's been pretty hard to do it, even in red gingham. But now it'll be easier, because I've got you, Aunt Polly. I'm glad I've got you." "Oh, but you've made an awful mistake, dear." "I'm only Nancy. I ain't your Aunt Polly at all." You aren't?" said the little girl in dismay. "I'm Nancy, the hired girl. I do all the work except the washing and the hard ironing." "But there is an Aunt Polly," demanded the child anxiously. "You know, she's all the aunt I've got. Father told me she lived in a lovely great big house way on top of a hill." "She does. You can see it now." "You can?" said Nancy. "It's that big white one with the green blinds way ahead."